The birth of Yahusha the Nazarite, who became our Adonai, an interpreter of Elohim and the Torah, a worthy vessel for the greatest manifestation of the power of the Ruach HaKodesh seen on earth, occurred in this manner. About the time Yohanan the Forerunner commenced teaching the way of the wilderness beside Jordan, in the year before Herodes died, when Augustus Caesar ruled the Roman world, a babe was born. The father was Joseph, son of Heli, a carpenter of Galilee, and the mother Miriam, his wife, who had been a virgin pledged to Yahuwah and the Hakel by her father Shimeon, son of Joashim, son of Nathan, son of Eleazar. A decree had gone out that all who claimed kinship within the house of David should be gathered for enrollment at the city of David, called Bethlehem in Galilee. Therefore Joseph, being rightfully born into the stock of David, took the scroll of his parentage and went to Bethlehem so his kinship could be established. Now Miriam, being then heavy with child, longed in her heart to be among her kinsmen, and she prevailed upon Joseph to take her, for Bethlehem was only a day's journey from them. The two, with the servant, came to Bethlehem at eventide, but because so many had gathered, the inns were filled. Then as Miriam's time was close upon her after the journey, a man took pity on her and provided a cave used as a stable. There the travellers found shelter and rest. That night Miriam's labors came upon her, and she suffered the pangs of childbirth and cried out in pain. Nearby some shepherds were tending sheep, for in the midst of so many strangers these needed protection, and hearing her cry went to help. They provided a shepherd's basket which was filled with straw and placed in the manger, and the newborn babe was wrapped in the clothes brought for him. After 8 days had elapsed, the child was named Yeshua, meaning one who delivers, for a messenger of Yahuwah had appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, "That which lies within Miriam, your wife, is filled with the power of the Ruach HaKodesh and will respond to the hopes of men." Later, men called him Yahusha, and because he fulfilled their hopes and was anointed with the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, he became acknowledged as Hamashiach. Now the stable was against a hill, behind an inn where sages from the east were staying, men of Sastara, wise in the books of the Shamayim and of Nimrod, who carried the stake of fire. So Joseph sent for them, requesting they come and foretell the child's future, for such was the custom. One of the sages said, "It is strange indeed, for this child is born under no usual star, but under one that is a star in appearance only and not in nature, having the power not in other stars. He is destined for greatness and will motivate events touching the lives of all men." When word of this was passed around, there was much excitement among those belonging to the house of David, and many, remembering the nebuah of Yohanan, for they had passed his way, wondered in their hearts, "Is this not he for whom we wait, the consolation of the Yahudim and deliverer of men?" This displeased the people of Bethlehem, who awaited another deliverer. When the sages spoke of the matter at their journey's end in Yerushalayim, and word came of the excitement among those of the house of David in Bethlehem, there was great consternation among the Kohanim and learned men. They tried to discover where the babe was, but the sages answered deviously and said, "His star points towards the east." An elder of the house of David, attending the barakah of the child on the 8th day, lifted up his voice and declared, "Surely this is he who has been promised to redeem us out of the hands of evil. This is he upon whom the power of the Ruach HaKodesh will descend, bestowing strength, compassion, and wisdom. Surely he will rule in the reign of Elohim." When the sovereign heard about these things, and that a babe had been born, who many claimed was destined to be the deliverer, he was greatly disturbed and summoned the council. With the council were learned scribes and elders who disputed among themselves concerning the babe. Some said that while Yahuwah's anointed would be born in Bethlehem, the deliverer would not, for the birth of Yahuwah's anointed in that place had been foretold by the Nebiim. Others said it might not be more than an enlightener who was expected to be born at that time. However, when many agreed that Yahuwah's anointed and the deliverer might be the same person, the sovereign sent 3 men to discover the child. The dispute before the council had been long, and Joseph had been forewarned. So when the men sent by Herodes came to Bethlehem, Joseph had departed with his family. They went to the place where the kinsmen of Miriam lived. The men who came did not search long for Yahusha, For after the council had been dismissed, Herodes slew the son who sat with him on the throne, as he had slain others of his blood. Later, Herodes died himself, but after these happenings, the Romans did not bestow the title of sovereign on any Yahudi, and it was unlawful for any man to claim the title. In this manner, the Nebuah was fulfilled which said, "A virgin shall give birth to a son, naming him Elohim with us. He will be the bearer of knowledge, discriminating between good and evil. But before this is given to the people, the land will lose its sovereigns." When time had passed, Joseph and Miriam came to Yerushalayim and stayed at the house of a relative, a man strongly set against wrongdoing and well learned in the Torah. The 40 days having been accomplished for the purification of Miriam, she came to the Heikel, and Joseph offered the prescribed sacrifice and dedicated the child. Hearing from Joseph and Miriam the things which the sages had foretold about the child Yahusha, the devout man took the babe into his arms and praised Yahuwah in this manner: "Because the things foretold have come about, your servant is prepared to depart in shalom. For my eyes have been gladdened by the deliverer of my people, a beacon light for others and the glorifier of your name. He will teach all men the ways of Yahuwah and how to walk in his paths. So swords shall be made into plowshares and spears into bullhooks, and shalom will reign over men." Joseph and Miriam could not understand the meaning of this and asked what was meant, whereupon the man replied, "I hold a sapling which will grow into a sturdy tree, under the shade of which many nations will find shalom. Yet he will also test the strength of our people, tearing them apart in disputes. He comes as a separator, dividing the sheep from the goats, showing each his rightful place." After complying with the requirements of the Torah of the Kohanim, Joseph and Miriam returned with the infant to their home in Galilee, a small place in a hollow at the foot of a hillside. There the child grew up, developing a strong body and keen mind, for he was strangely talented. He was wise beyond his years and deft with his hands, and when old enough he began learning the craft of plow-making. His parents, following the custom, went each year to Yerushalayim for the festival of deliverance, and when Yahusha was 12 they went as usual, but this time taking him with them. Having remained the 7 days of the festival, Joseph and Miriam sent off to return home, but let the boy linger in Yerushalayim, for a kinsman of theirs was also returning, and they thought Yahusha was in his company.